Nice being back with you. At least physically, I'm with you. I'm kind of jet lagged out right now. So I'm like 50% here otherwise, but physically I'm here. It's kind of a weird feeling, like an out of body experience kind of thing. I think once I get started, I'll be all right. So I wanted to speak about Kirtan's over. If this nice little boy can't be quiet, please take him outside. I don't think he's going to be quiet. So ISKCON 50. The place that I just came from was Sridham Mayapur, and there was some exciting things going on in Mayapur. One of the good part of the exciting things going on in Mayapur was the ISKCON Leadership Sangha. Of course, everything has to have an acronym these days, so ILS, International Leadership Sangha. And there were around 1,250 devotees from all over the world for 8 days of morning till evening, a variety of about 20 different things to choose from every hour and a half. Whole array of leading devotees and all kinds of devotees, groups of devotees speaking on all kinds of things that are important for leadership. And just besides the list was hard to choose from, but like many of the presenters presented their topic 3 or 4 times, with some with small classrooms of only 60 people, and some with large assemblies of 1,000 people and 500 people, and the organizers did an awesome job. Just one impression for me was, once again, the international part of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is something that you read about, but when you experience this ILS, it comes to life, the international dimension of our society. Languages and colors and cultures, and truly international. When classes were going on, there were simultaneously 16 different translations of the class going on. Over in this corner, this language and that language. And these were leaders from, not just the followers, but the leaders from all over the world coming in. It was an image, a visual image was like a whole botanical garden of so many different types of flowers with different colors and different fragrances, and bees just buzzing around those flowers and landing on the flowers and picking up pollen and gathering pollen and planning to go back and make honeycombs when they reach their country of origin, their place of preaching, to add to the value of whatever they're doing in their local place, from Africa and China and South America and all over the world, literally international. So one of the things that was provided for our devotees attending this International Leadership Sangha and our GBC members is something I'm going to present to you. First showing in the West. Hot off the press, it's still smoking. So it's a 20-minute video on ISKCON 50. And it's, I haven't seen it all the way through. It's that fresh. But it seems to be very nice, very nicely done. So the opening scene is, some of you know Yadunath. Yadunath is a professional comedian in New York City. Imagine having that profession. Professional comedian in New York City. So he's a good speaker. He's narrating about 26th Avenue, the place where it all began, and then going through 50 years of growth. So here we go. ISKCON 50.
Here we are, 22nd Avenue. Very few New Yorkers know the historical significance of this humble...
You have to show me how to do it. How do I get the image to show? I can see it on my screen. Do I do it just after an F8? Lights out.
Here we are, 22nd Avenue. Very few New Yorkers know the historical significance of this humble storefront. See the sign behind me? It says Matchless Gifts. It was the name of a curio shop that was here in the mid-60s, a name that turned out to be quite prophetic indeed. It's here where an ancient Eastern spiritual tradition took root and expanded throughout the world. This is where it all began, the very first Hare Krishna temple in the West. Take a look around. You can see how small it is. The Swami would come and sit on this end and lecture on the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Although the Hindu Vaishnava tradition, also known as Krishna consciousness, goes back thousands of years and still has millions of followers in India, it was a very new thing in the West. So, Bhaktivedanta Swami decided to incorporate his fledgling movement, and that happened in July 1966. He founded the movement as ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
When Srila Prabhupada came to this country, he did something that was quite daring, in the sense that his goal was to transplant a very well-established and very authentic and old tradition from India to the United States, to New York City, to the 60s counterculture. I mean, if you look at it comparatively, there couldn't be two more different cultures than these two.
Within 12 short years after he left India, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada traveled across the globe 14 times, initiated thousands of disciples, established over 100 centers, several farm communities, as well as various charity and educational organizations. But what happened to his legacy after he passed in 1977? Where does his organization stand now, 5 decades after he established it? It was underneath this tree on October 9th, 1966, that A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada held the first recorded outdoor chanting session of the Hare Krishna mantra outside of the Indian subcontinent. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is one of the most important activities for Krishna devotees.
We've got lots of singers here, lots of musicians, and lots of dynamic people who want to share their joy and their happiness and the purity of Harinam, of Krishna's names. And so there are quite a few different initiatives going on. The Harinam itself goes out every day, and that is generally 2 to 3 hours. People from so many countries come here. So you can sing to all over the world when you come here on Harinam. There's Kirtan London. Sometimes they hold 6 to 8 hour kirtans where they invite the general public, anyone who wants to come.
I always come to kirtans to go deep inside.
Well, I cried even more than usual.
It connects me with happiness.
There's been kind of a surge over the last 15 years where we've seen more and more the youth of the Hare Krishna movement are just set alight by their desire to specifically do kirtan.
After years of planting seeds in the West, Prabhupada returned to India and with the help of his American and Indian disciples started building beautiful temples in the major cities and holy places there. One of his main projects was to build a spiritual city in Mayapur on the banks of the river Ganges.
Prabhupada was planning a project that was far bigger than ever had been attempted by anyone else.
A temple like this has never been built for hundreds of years. We want to make this like a gem.
This temple, the temple of Vedic planetarium, can unite the whole world and establish the peace and prosperity all over the world.
Mayapur is the home for all devotees.
I was born and brought up in England.
I was born in Cape Town, South Africa.
I was born in Detroit, Michigan, in America.
I'm from Brazil.
I was born in Bengal.
My wife, Maya Pureshwari, is from Ukraine.
I originally come from China. We actually had a visitor here once from the UN, and he said, wow, this really is the United Nations here. It's amazing how people can understand each other, although they're so different.
We have a oneness on the spiritual platform, and at the same time we recognize the differences. There's variety as well.
Life is just a happy place.
Back in the early days, most of the devotees lived and served inside the temple itself. Nowadays, most devotees have families and have regular jobs. Lawyers, doctors, bus drivers, even actors, like me. Today is the Ratha Yatra Festival in New York City. Although Prabhupada started his mission here in New York, his teachings have reached almost everywhere in the world now and have been making the kind of impact that for some places was unimaginable 50 years ago.
На самом деле, ни разу не была на таком концерте, поэтому очень понравился данный формат. Очень много эмоций получила. Я работаю в нефтяной компании полдня, а в остальное время фотография, моя профессия.
There is no material reasons why this movement grew so much. definitely grace of Srila Prabhupada and his way of presentation, because so far we distributed millions of his books, probably around 20 million of Prabhupada's books, and people just by reading his books become devotees, become convinced. His presentation is absolutely unique.
I was interested in the literature, and I stayed in the movements because there was music. There was something I could connect to, and I could immediately find my role, my place in the community.
Behind me are a row of colorful tents. Inside of each of them is a different aspect of the central components of the culture of Krishna consciousness. Directly behind me is a booth called Books on Yoga and Meditation. They give the basis of our philosophy. Basically, that we're not this body, we're eternal spiritual souls.
A BBT, ela foi criada por Prabhupada há mais de 50 anos com o intuito de ter documentado, né, o seu conhecimento para poder levar para todas as pessoas, né, aquilo que ele acreditava.
Minha maior alegria na vida é esse serviço de tradução, porque eu sei que eu não estou beneficiando só a mim, mas eu beneficio as pessoas que têm acesso a esses livros. E a tradução também tem uma vantagem, algumas vezes eu gosto de escrever também, mas na escrita talvez apareçam as minhas imperfeições, as minhas debilidades, mas quando eu traduzo o livro de uma pessoa completamente qualificada, como os Goswamis ou Prabhupada, eu tenho certeza de que eu estou sendo um instrumento de uma mensagem perfeita.
Então, me inspirou muito, né, distribuir livros, porque foi também através dos livros que eu pude mudar de vida, né, mudar meu nível de consciência, né, que mudou completamente a minha vida. Então eu gosto, né, da ideia de oportunizar isso para outras pessoas, dar isso para outras pessoas, né, algo que foi maravilhoso na minha vida e que outras pessoas tenham a oportunidade.
A partir de 2009, em 2009 nós conseguimos distribuir 135 mil livros e desde então a nossa média anual é de 350 mil livros. A minha maior felicidade na vida é quando eu vejo que Prabhupada ele é reconhecido pelo serviço que ele fez e que faz para a humanidade.
Vegetarianism is one of the most important aspects of a Krishna conscious lifestyle. Devotees try to cause the least amount of suffering possible to other living beings. This is called ahimsa in Sanskrit. It's the principle of non-violence. Prabhupada and his followers have contributed tremendously to the fact that vegetarianism is much more popular now and has even become somewhat mainstream.
Not that long ago, it was kind of unheard of to have a vegetarian restaurant. And I would dare say that Hare Krishna are probably the first people in Australia to do one. There were teary moments and, you know, a lot of blood, sweat and tears. But, you know, I think if you want to establish something great, you have to go through those kind of crazy processes. And now it's a massive, you know, massive sort of lifestyle choice. If you say clean eating, vegan, all that sort of stuff, now it's embraced. And I think we did a lot of the groundwork for that. It's kind of an exciting new world of vegetarian prasadam distribution.
I always eat at Govinda's, just a natural routine.
The best recipe for people to be happy, I think that developing an attitude of service towards other people. The reason we do what we do and we push every day is the reciprocation we get from the people we're doing it for. And every day they're coming in, we have people coming in multiple times a day even, and just showering with us appreciation and affection and love.
I think the Hare Krishnas, that I know them anyway, are really integral to the community at James Street. I think they provide a really beautiful service, and they make incredible food.
Giving out prasadam, or sanctified vegetarian food, is a symbol of love and care, and is an integral part of the ancient spiritual Indian culture. When Prabhupada first started attracting followers, he personally cooked for them and personally fed them. Later on, he asked his disciples to make sure that no one ever went hungry within a 10-mile radius of any ISKCON center.
The ISKCON Food for Life is the world's largest free food vegetarian program, which serves out holistic meals to people all around the world at its different centers. The Food for Life initiative in ISKCON Mumbai started in 1980s and is still going very strong, where a holistic meal is served to people every day, morning and evening.
So we started this project in the year 2004. It was a very humble beginning. On the first day, we went to one school which had only 900 students. 11 years down the road, we have set up 20 kitchens in different parts of the country. We have a presence in 8 states, and we are feeding 1.2 million kids every day.
Although he started his mission in a big metropolis, Swami Prabhupada inspired his followers to establish farm communities, leading a lifestyle of simple living and high thinking. He taught them to respect nature and how to be self-sufficient, living off what the land and the cows provide.
Számunkra a környezetvédelem az nem csak egy jelmondat, amit kiteszünk valahova az ajtó fölé, és arról és aztán meditálunk nap, mint nap, hanem mi gyakorlatban az életmódunk a legfőbb környezetvédelmi programunk. A közösségünkben 130-an élnek, és ehhez szükséges zöldséget, gyümölcsöt, gabonát, fejet, tejtermékét meg tudjuk termelni. Gabonából több mint 10-szeres túltermelésünk van.
At the moment we have around 50 cows and oxen. We have our own water system. So Krishna Valley is completely off the grid. No gas, no water, no electricity is coming in. Krishna Valley has a really great reputation of being the largest sustainable eco-village in Europe.
Well, the stage program is winding down. The younger generation is really stepping up, taking on more leadership roles within the society and the organization of running festivals like this one.
I've always felt that my mission is to be of use. I have a teaching degree, so my primary job is teaching.
What we really look at is a holistic approach to education.
They teach science, they teach mathematics, they teach reading, they teach how to write, they teach how reading comprehension, and lots of other stuff, including about Krishna. And so that's why I really like this school.
Everything that we do, it's age appropriate, and it's done with the eye of just creating these positive spiritual experiences that they can look back on and want to continue or relive in some way.
I want to be an ecologist and save Krishna's trees.
I think ISKCON's contribution to the world around us has to do with the fact that it provides an authentic spiritual perspective on many of the issues that face us in the world today. We live in a world that is technologically very advanced, that is scientifically very accomplished, and yet a world where people are seeking community, they're seeking heart, they're seeking relationships with other human beings, and are seeking meaning and purpose in their lives. And what ISKCON does, I think, is provide the opportunity, provide a pathway to finding that meaning and living it in a day-to-day way that is at the same time connected to our world around us, and yet gives meaning and hope for something much greater than we human beings can imagine ourselves.
Pretty powerful, huh? I haven't seen the whole thing through. We can make copies of this available. If you would like a copy to show to people, I don't know how the best way to do that is. Do you know the best way to do that? We'll upload it on the website, and then you can just download it and show it to whoever you want to show it to, and then you'll have to live up to all those ideals. Those are pretty high ideals. It's one thing to showcase it, and it's another thing to live it in our day-to-day lives. Another just now coming presentation is 64-page publication, an introductory literature, something that our book distributors since the 60s or 70s, since the 70s, there was a magazine called Who Are They? To introduce to people what the Hare Krishna movement was, and then that one became obsolete, and so we haven't had one till ISKCON 50. So the communications department, headed by Anutama Prabhu, those of you that have met when the North American GBCs meet here, Anutama comes, so maybe you've met Anutama. He and his team of people put together a very nice publication, and this is a gift copy, a sample copy from the first run that our GBC members were given a copy of. They're being printed somewhere in another side of the planet, and I think Australia, and we'll be getting a shipment sometime in late summer, and at the very latest, they're promising us we'll have them for Janmashtami. ISKCON 50 will be almost over by then. But our book distributors all over the world will be able, and our guests, those that are conducting programs for the public, and people would like to know, what's ISKCON? This is your 50th anniversary. As you most likely know, when, at least it's a tradition in America, when something, a company or an organization exists for 50 years, it's a big deal. It means something in the public eye, particularly with the media. It means you're here to stay, because the history has shown something that starts with a big enthusiasm often doesn't endure. But when something goes through its growing pains, as ISKCON has, and is still going through its growing pains, it's still enduring, then it's a significant event. So media will pay attention. Our temple has some group of devotees contacting. It doesn't just have to be, Chicago Tribune. It can be local papers or groups of people that have some interest in, what is this organization, this ISKCON organization. So the magazine will be helpful, the video will be helpful, and one additional item, just that there's a global ISKCON 50 committee, and the chairman of that committee lives in Delhi. He happens to have the same name as me, but it's not me. It's Romapada Das, a disciple of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. And they have a series of facilities that will assist temples or groups of devotees that want to do different things, banners that can standardize with logo, the presentation of ISKCON 50, and many things. You can go, to Google Guru and put in ISKCON 50, and it'll all this information, you can find it and download it. This is one of those, as you can see, ISKCON50.org, and this is they gave it the name the 50-50 campaign, which means it's an encouragement, or so I'm waving the banner for this particular program. Every single devotee in ISKCON, you saw this large number of how many initiated and, of course, not initiated devotees all over the world are encouraged, each and every one, to distribute 50 books in the course of 365 days. Distribute 50 books. So when these magazines come, it's going to be really easy. But until the magazines come, the Chicago Temple, along with every temple that I know of, are participating in this program. And the temple here has something that can assist you. There's, for those that wish, there's a little table outside, and you can sign up as a 50-50 member, and they'll give you a set of 50 books, and I don't know exactly how it works, but they do. And you make a pledge that you'll distribute these 50 books in the course of 1 year. You can do it in 1 day or 1 hour or 1 year, whatever. You can go back and get some more 50 books if you want. And you get, the books that you distributed, so that we'll have record of the books that are distributed. Some encouraging tips. This is from the global book distribution minister. This is on the table out there also. Vijay Prabhu, of how to do it. Different ways of how to effectively distribute books. Those that actually accomplish this, they get this nice little certificate of appreciation. It's just that there's formality involved in this, but the spirit is the most important thing. The spirit is, as a number of persons spoke during this little video, many of us, I'm one, became a devotee because of reading Prabhupada's books. My first publication was a Back to Godhead magazine. And one of my friends in college who became a devotee gave me my first Back to Godhead magazine when I didn't even know what Hare Krishna was about. Purijan Prabhu. I was in Mayapur. I was interviewed by one Prabhupada disciple, lives in Alachua. Her name is Prishni Mataji, and she's spending time interviewing people that had some interaction with Sadhaputta. Sadhaputta had his PhD in mathematics from Cornell University. So she also had a PhD in mathematics from some other university, maybe it was Florida. So she just had great appreciation for Sadhaputta, and she asked me would I be willing, because I also have a great appreciation for Sariputta. So during the interview, I shared with her my knowledge of how he became a devotee. Was a very interesting way of how he first read one of Prabhupada's books. As a graduate student at Cornell, he found a copy of Ishopanishad. He told me this in the university bookstore. And he didn't have enough money to buy it because he was a student and was poor. So he read it standing. He went, several days in a row and just read it standing up in the bookstore. And he was so fascinated by Sri Ishopanishad that he wanted to find out more about the author. And the back of the Sri Ishopanishad was a list of centers. So he came to the center in New York because that was closest to Cornell University, Ithaca, New York. And I remember greeting him at the door. And who are you? So my name is Richard Thompson, and I've come to meet the author of this book. I heard he was visiting, since Prabhupada was going to be visiting soon, and so that's how he began. Another amazing scientist, devotee, is Dhruta Karma. Some of you know Dhruta Karma and his writings. I remember very clearly, it was a long time ago, but a group of 4 of us went to a Grateful Dead concert in upstate New York, and we were giving out books and burfi. Great combination at a Grateful Dead concert. And he was sitting outside, and he got a book. And when the concert was over, we had some burfi left, and there was Dhruta Karma sitting there reading the book. And he really liked it and said, "You have more books." So we gave him a bunch more books, and now he's writing books. But the start was reading Prabhupada's books. And burfi helped too. But Srila Prabhupada's books are a very important way for, like this Mataji that was interviewed for book distribution, because it completely changed her consciousness. She felt inspired and compelled to give others that same opportunity. It's a devotional inspiration. There's austerity involved because not everybody says yes. And some people not only don't say no, they say other things besides no. And so there's austerity involved. But that's okay because it's a gesture of devotion. And so I'm particularly encouraging this particular aspect and encourage everybody. As long as you can speak, then you can speak something about the Prabhupada's books and share that with other people and participate in the worldwide effort in this ISKCON 50-year increasing book distribution. So I chose to speak about this, and then I found out there's already a system set up. So I'm the cheerleader for a system that's already set up. Rah, rah, rah. Sign up for the ISKCON 50-50 program and assist worldwide. Many hands make light work. And so many literatures will be distributed, and Prabhupada and our previous acharyas will be very pleased with that combined effort worldwide. And just to conclude, on another occasion here, I showed the petals of ISKCON 50 that for North America we had envisioned. It's not just something that somebody else should do, it's an opportunity for everyone to weigh in on some kind of opportunity or more than one, where you can participate in celebrating and bringing the awareness of this gift, the gift of our founder Acharya to the world. What are the gifts that ISKCON has given to the world and will continue to give to the world for another long time? Let's envision another 50 years. What would we like to see ISKCON continue to give to the world, and in measurable ways. Communities of devotees and farm projects and books distributed and harinams being performed and wonderful, gorgeous deity worship sustained over a period of time. This is all for the pleasure of the personality of Godhead. That's the gift of the acharyas, including our founder Acharya, to make offerings of devotion to Krishna and invite others to take part in offerings of devotion to Krishna. And Krishna will be pleased. The hearts will become cleansed by that effort. And the anomalies of this age can be minimized individually and collectively by that increasing of devotion to the personality of Godhead Krishna. Oh, another, those who actually complete your 50 commitment, you get one of these. It's a gift to all of you. It's a set of quotes from Srila Prabhupada encouraging book distribution. So the title of it is, "This is my request." So it's quotes of Prabhupada requesting or encouraging others to engage in book distribution. Along with every page has some nice photograph. This is Prabhupada in Geneva meeting one government official, and Guru Garanga in the background as this translator into French. So any comments or questions from anyone? Ready to take part in the ISKCON 50/50 program and celebrating? Okay, so let's do announcements.
Thank His Holiness Romapada Maharaj with loud Haribol. Haribol! So I have 4 quick things because, as I've said previously, I've learned in the public speaking arena that you should never stand between people and their dinner. So I'll try to keep this quick. So first is Gaura Purnima festival, which is March 22nd. And for those of you who are here first time or not fully aware, you saw the video of how the Hare Krishna movement is doing across the world. And that inspiration for Srila Prabhupada primarily came from a prophetic statement by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who on our altar here is the two